At the beginning of this part, a doctor named Alan Strauss suddenly wakes up and finds himself chained up on his leg in someone's house, located between the woods. He has no idea what is going on with him, who has tied him there in the middle of nowhere. Whenever he tries to reach here and they're hoping for some help, but chain pulls him, and has to stay there unwillingly. He panicked and screams says, "Help me, help me." However, no one comes there to rescue him. He calms himself down and sits on the bed. As he turns his head, he sees essentials, paste, a toothbrush, some medications, and his foot cream. Whoever is doing this knows him very well. The series cut us to a flashback 4 months earlier. Alan is doing the first session of the day with a young man named Gene, who is putting a cap and sunglasses because of his sensitive eyes. The young lad opens up with Alan and tells him that his dad beat him up when he was a kid, which is affecting him now. Alan then dives deep into the boy's case and asks about the things that are affecting him now. But when the boy continues to tell the story, Alan juxtaposes the boy's event with his personal life. In his nightmare, his wife is holding a guitar and a baby is crying, their faces deformed and weird. The following day, Alan goes to his son Ezra's workplace and gives him the guitar, considering that he is only the person in the family to play the guitar. Ezra benignly admits that he no longer plays. In the next session with Gene, Alan feels that Gene is not opening up with him. He believes he is hiding something and requests Gene to talk about hard things, so that he could help him with his problem. Later that night, Alan is making coffee and notices some movement outside. He steps out to check it but is knocked out. When he wakes up, he finds a chain around his leg. Alan notices someone using the restroom. And guess what? It's Gene. This guy comes out and says, "I am so sorry. I know this sucks." He is not wearing sunglasses. Gene kidnaps him and brings Alan to his place so that he can open up and tell Alan the hard things which will help with his problem. Alan asks him to free him, but Gene denies it. Gene even brings breakfast for Alan. As they argue, it comes out that Gene's real name is Sam. Alan is still trying to convince Sam, but instead, Sam begs Alan's help. Sam says he is already out of options and Alan is his last resort. Sam tells that he needs therapy is a safe place, and the place they are now is the safest place where he can open up. Sam also opens up saying he is not like others' patients. He says, "I have the compulsion to kill people." Sam even killed people every once in a while. Sam says he wants to quit and is working hard to do so. However, there is one person he desperately wants to kill, but is barely holding back on. Sam also warns Alan that he is going to commit another crime if he doesn't help him, and thus, seeks help from Dr. Alan Strauss. The next following night, Sam enters by sliding the glass door and offers Alan food, however Alan denies to eat it. Sam then opens a white box of things he has stolen to conceal his killing as robbery, and all he is showing him is to make believe Alan that he is telling the truth and need help. The series then shows us a flashback where Alan is meditating with his wife. His wife tells that it's hard for some like Alan to meditate when failed to clear his mind. He is excessively in his mind. Probably he is recalling those moments, as he decides to calm down. He then eats the food brought by Sam. He drinks the last sip of his coffee, takes a long breath, holds a plastic fork, and attempts to open the lock. Unfortunately, the fork breaks and gets stuck inside the lock. Thankfully he manages to take out the broken piece and pops it in his mouth. After this, he hears a rattling sound coming from upstairs. It cannot be Sam. He has just left, leaving whoever is upstairs in suspense. Shortly, Sam is back with food. He also finds what Alan tried with the plastic fork and reminds him that he cannot unlock and escape in this manner. He again asks help from Alan, this time threatening in his words, and says, though Alan hates it, but if he is not going to be part of the process otherwise, where is that going to leave them? Realizing the danger, Alan becomes ready to do the session and takes a seat across from Sam. Before proceeding with the session, Alan says that therapy requires a safe environment free of fear. Alan begins by saying Sam can at least promise not to commit any act of physical violence against him or anyone unless he talks to him first. Sam instantly agrees to comply with him. That night, Alan wakes up in the middle of the night from the same rattling sound coming from upstairs. Later in the morning, while meditating, Alan remembers his wife throwing cake at the wall. She was furious with their son, who was agitation in some way with them. The new first session in a different setting starts. Sam begins to tell Alan about the man he wants to kill. As a health inspector, Sam visited a Greek restaurant around 4 months ago. The condition of the restaurant wasn't good and Sam asked the manager to fix it. The manager asks a week time to fix it. And when Sam visited for the second time, the manager has already fixed it, but completely ignores Sam. From there onwards, Sam cannot take out the manager from his mind. He is obsessed to kill him. This was the time when he was visiting Alan in his office. Suddenly Sam realizes that this session is not helping, but before going to work, he again asks for another session. Shortly, again Alan hears the same noise coming from upstairs. He gives a call trying to find out who is over there. A person with iron can come downstairs. Alan says, "Hello," composedly to the person. "Who is that person?"